coincidence by design. See, a 12-year-old girl doing a school project once traced the bloodlines of 43 US presidents. Her findings? All of them, except one, were descendants of a single man, King John of England, the same king who signed the Magna Carta in 1215. Why does this matter? Because power isn't random, it's passed down. Not just through elections or money, but through legacy. And that legacy has always been protected by something hidden: Freemasonry. George Washington was a Freemason. So was Franklin Roosevelt, Harry Truman, Gerald Ford. Freemasonry was never just a brotherhood. It was a spiritual system, a hidden framework for controlling reality itself. But Carl Jung discovered that human beings have four main archetypes that govern their lives. First, there's the persona, which is the mask you show the world, the version of you that fits in, plays by the rules. And then there's the anima or animus, the feminine and masculine energies within you, driving your creativity, your emotions, and how you connect with others on a soul deep level. What if I told you that behind that mask is something far more powerful, something you've been avoiding your whole life? The shadow, the part of you that holds all your hidden fears, desires, and untapped potential. This isn't just the dark side that you've been told to ignore. It's the key to everything that you've ever been searching for. Now, we also have a hero within us, striving to conquer life's challenges, to rise above and go beyond. But here's what no one ever tells you. True power doesn't come from just the hero alone. It comes from understanding and embracing every single part of yourself, especially the shadow. This is where your true potential lies, waiting to be unleashed. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to tap into your shadow side, not just to understand it, but to actually integrate it into your life in a way that will change everything for you. This isn't just another shiny personal development tactic or a clickbaity personal development video. This is the missing piece that, once correctly implemented, will unlock a whole new level of success that was once out of reach for you. Let's get started. So in order to I would like to not happen for you, and part of Carl Jung's work is about the goal. The goal is individuation, which is reaching absolute harmony with each and every single part of ourselves, with the hero, the animus anima, the shadow, the conscious, the ego, okay? So the shadow plays a very, very important role in this. And for most people, they have a gross misunderstanding of the shadow or what the shadow is, because we've been told to embody a certain part of ourselves. So the very first thing we have to understand is the concept of identity shifting, which I've taught my over 1,000 clients how to do, how to shift into the version of yourself you were truly meant to be. Okay? And there's a great quote from a book I read called Relentless by Tim Grover. And Tim Grover says, in order to have what you really want, you must first be who you really are. For me, once I realized this, I had the life that was beyond my wildest dreams. So protect it or not, depending on who goes to your phone, but create a shadow document, okay? Shadow, character, whatever it is you want to title. And what you want to do is create a list of characteristics, attitudes, and actions/behaviors. And we want to list 5 for each. So what kind of characteristics does your shadow self have? You want to observe it. And when you observe it, how you will know that this is your shadow self is because you're scared. You're kind of scared of this version. You know, you're kind of scared of how, in a way, it might seem evil. It might seem like, oh my God, this is devious. I've never seen this part of myself. Or I have, and I've always hidden it. I've always hid it under the surface. I never wanted people to see this part of myself. What is the part of you that you don't want people to see? Don't be ashamed of it. That's the nasty, evil part that you have to bring to the surface and become aware of. You don't have to show people right now, but you have to become aware of it, okay? We want to bring it to awareness. So you're going to list a few characteristics this shadow has and a few attitudes the shadow has. So if you are naturally a critical, judgmental person and you like to compare everyone to everyone, don't be afraid of that. That is the attitude that it has. What kind of behaviors does it do? What kind of behaviors or actions do you take that you feel ashamed of? Bring those to light right now. And chances are, if you bring those to light, guess what? Shame can never thrive in a place of empathy. If you feel ashamed about something, the only way it can thrive is in silence is in suppression. But if you bring it to the light of empathy and awareness, it can no longer thrive. So this is why this exercise we're doing is so important and so powerful, okay? So in order to integrate your shadow into your persona, your unconscious to your conscious, and thereby eliminating all of these unconscious blocks that you feel like you've been experiencing due to past traumas, past patterns, what fundamentally needs to happen is we need to master three main things. There's three main parts to this. First part is understanding fatigue and the three different types of fatigue. The second part is emotional clearing, how to properly deal with these feelings that are surfacing and how most people improperly deal with them. And finally, unpacking patterns in your life. I'm really, really excited for you to experience this. Let's start with number one. What you'll notice in your life is there's basically three main types of fatigue. There is what's known as persona fatigue, which basically means you get tired holding a certain personality. Have you ever felt that you come out of a social situation and you just feel completely drained? It's because the person that you were with, every single person that we're with, we have a particular ego. The ego is it casts a shadow. Depending on the different times in the day, the ego casts a different kind of shadow. Depending on who we hang out with, who we socialize, interact with, our ego or our persona takes on a different form. For example, if you're with your mother, your father, you are one kind of person. If you're with your friends, you're another kind of person. If you're with your husband or wife, you're another kind of person. With every single person, we embody a different persona. Sometimes, though, we get this persona fatigue from embodying too many different personas. We want to make sure we eliminate all of these fatigues. That's the most important thing that anyone can do. So the first type of fatigue is persona fatigue. The second kind of fatigue is self-judgment fatigue. Self-judgment fatigue is the fatigue we feel from constantly judging every single step that we take. Has it ever happened to you that you've made a social media post that you want to put out and you're judging what people will think about it? So you keep second-guessing yourself at every single turn. Or maybe you've completed an assignment for one of your clients and you're just second-guessing yourself like, oh, is this good enough? Is this not? Should I publish this? Should I not? Or even in social situations, you constantly judge what you're saying. Did I say the right thing? Do I look stupid? Do I look silly? And this constant state of self-judgment is causing you to tire yourself out. Essentially, you're basically fighting against an invisible part of you at all times. That is a draining source of fatigue. Finally, we have decision-making fatigue. This is when you have too many decisions to make. So when you wake up, you're like, oh, what am I going to wear? What am I going to eat today? What am I going to do today? I especially find that on unplanned holidays, when you take a vacation and it's unplanned, I get this fatigue a lot because there's so much to do. What are we going to do? And by the end of the day, you're just drained. As opposed to just daily living, I just don't feel drained at all because I know my outfits and I know what I'm going to eat and I know what I'm going to do. There's just no fatigue. It's just there's a routine, a consistent routine. Very, very key people like the president of the US, they have to make so many decisions day to day. If you can minimize all of these fatigues, you will find that slowly, your shadow self will naturally arise that you can experience it. If we don't do that, if we're constantly fatigued, we don't have our conscious awareness available for us to explore and experience this shadow side of us. Therefore, we constantly run away and stuff it to the side and we never let the uncomfortable thing come up. We're always compartmentalizing. You might be going through something really tough in your life, but you're just stuffing it out because it's just too difficult, too draining to deal with right now. So the goal is to eliminate all fatigue. I cannot understate the importance of this. So the question becomes, how do we get rid of self-judgment? How do we stop holding on to a persona? How do we get rid of decision-making fatigue? Well, the decision-making fatigue is very simple to eliminate, but the self-judgment and persona, it's not so much because you've lived your whole life judging yourself, thinking that nothing you do is ever good enough. So if you've experienced that pattern of constantly judging yourself, whether it be in social situations or by yourself, this is where part 2 comes in, emotional clearing. So what you have to understand is there's 4 main ways in which we deal with our feelings. The lowest form of dealing with our feelings, which is what causes the shadow side to strengthen and the disjunct between the conscious and the unconscious to grow larger and larger, is repression. We repress our feelings because they're too strong to deal with right now. Repression is very unconscious. You don't choose to repress. What you choose to do before repression happens is suppression. You suppress. Something really grievous has happened. You've lost a loved one or an event happened in your life. Maybe you got hit with a bunch of taxes or anything could have happened in your past and that made you retreat into your shell and like just stuff it down. You just haven't found a way to deal with it. These strong feelings. Therefore, you just suppress it and then you try to continue on with your life. A level above that, though, is a more powerful, a more energetic way of dealing with our feelings, which is what we do when we express them. We express our feelings. Now, in expression, there is more energy available. You talk to a therapist, you talk to a confidant, you talk to a friend, you explain how you're feeling. That's great. The issue, though, is with expression, although you release a certain amount of that energy and you feel better, the remaining energy gets suppressed and therefore afterwards repressed, just naturally. When you feel angry, you might think, okay, I'm going to express my anger, I'm going to punch something. What we do is we perpetuate that anger. When we become angry and we react from a place of anger, we hurt someone else who then becomes angry. If your boss is angry at you, that anger translates to you. You go home and take it out on your wife and kids. This is a cycle that keeps going on. Instead of unleashing our anger into the world, what if we learned to deal with it a better way? And that better way is what's known as surrender. Surrender is a method that was very largely put forward by a man known as David R. Hawkins. And he has this great book called Letting Go, The Pathway of Surrender. And in that book, he talks about this very simple method to clearing your emotions. And this is the highest way in which we can deal with our feelings and actually have them arise and clear up. And the method is simply whatever's coming up, we fully accept it and acknowledge it. If I feel like I'm judging myself, instead of fighting that, because now what's going to happen is you're going to learn about this and be like, self-judgment is bad. Do not self-judge. You're going to resist the resistance itself, which creates a deeper battle. What needs to happen instead is an acceptance of what's happening, a full acceptance of what's happening. Oh, there is self-judgment. I acknowledge it. I notice it. This is the internal dialogue that needs to happen. Oh, I'm judging myself again. Oh, I'm overthinking again. That's okay. Just allow yourself permission to grieve. It's okay to take some time out, be with yourself and grieve. There's nothing wrong with that. Society tells you, oh, you have to put up a brave face and be someone you're not. Bullshit. Now, do you have to stop and sit down to do that? No, you don't. You just have to have an awareness that this feeling is arising, and that's okay. After you get to that point, you can continue on with your life. There is nothing wrong with that. The key is to deal with whatever feeling's coming up in a healthy way. We want to make our unconscious conscious. Now, there is a big misunderstanding that people have when we think about letting feelings arise. They think, okay, now I gotta go find all of my negative feelings because I'm gonna do the surrender method on it. I'm gonna surrender it. That's not how it works. The mind is a tricky matter because whatever we're looking for, we're gonna find. If we're looking for limiting beliefs, guess what? You're gonna find 1,000,001 different limiting beliefs. If you're looking for reasons why you're damaged, you're going to find reasons why you're damaged. If you're looking to find reasons why you're not damaged, you're healthy, you're perfect, you're also gonna find that. The mind works in multiplication and division, not in addition and subtraction. You can't subtract something from the mind. It will only divide. What we have to do instead is pursue the thing that we want in our lives. Whatever goal it is, whatever it is you're trying to achieve. That's why I say life it's a game. It's trying to wake you up to a higher truth, a higher consciousness. And all of these challenges that that happen to us, they're all unique to us. I'm going through my own journey, not your journey, not your parents' journey. I'm going through my own journey. As I go through this journey, I face challenges and obstacles. These challenges and obstacles, the external ones that we face, are actually a reflection of our internal challenges. They're a reflection of our internal world. And when we face those, most people, what they do is, okay, let's go fix the problem out there. No, and you can't fix the problem out there. The problem out there won't be fixed. That's a symptom. It's like putting on a Band-Aid. You put on a Band-Aid when there's, a hemorrhage happening internally, nothing's going to happen. You have to go to the root cause of the problem, which is the internal. So whenever you notice a problem outside, ask, what is it internally? What idea am I holding on to internally that's causing this? What am I refusing to surrender, refusing to let go of that's causing this? This brings me to point number 3. Unpacking patterns. So a week ago, I actually wrote a tweet which goes, most people never achieve what they want because they constantly lie to themselves about what they truly want. Never lie to yourself. Why I made that tweet is because what I noticed was we are told by our environment what we should want. Your society, your parents, people around you, social conditioning tells us what we should want. So the mind is susceptible to that. but the heart wants something else. The heart knows what it wants. So when I understood this, I realized that this is a pattern that people see in their lives because we become very, very mind-centric. We're always thinking about, okay, I want to do this. I really want to pursue my art, but is there money in it? Will I make money from it? And society is always trying to tell you, go for the thing that makes money because otherwise you won't be safe, you won't be secure, etc. I'll be honest with you. When I started making these videos, I had no idea how I was going to make money. I did it because I love it. The money question was a secondary thing in my mind, not the primary thing. When you do what you love and you could do something for free for the rest of your life because you truly enjoy it, you can find a way to monetize it later. The man who loves the journey will walk farther than the man who loves the destination. When I understood that, okay, there's things that we think we want versus what we truly want, that means intellectually we're convinced by arguments, logic, and societal conditioning to want certain things. But emotionally, that thing, that core desire that each and every single one of us has, doesn't change. What got me even deeper into this was I had a client from 2 or 3 years ago. She just felt stuck in her life for a very long time. And we finally realized why she felt stuck. She felt stuck because she had a false idea. She thought that she had to somehow make money by helping other people, when in reality, what she wanted to do was just be free, experience freedom in her life, and paint, do the thing that she loves every single day. So I advised her, why don't you just do that? To which she said, well, don't I have to help others somehow? Why do you have to help others? Well, don't you have to be selfless? Who said that? What is selflessness? I inquire you to think about that. What is selflessness? Selflessness itself is selfish, because when I do something selfless, I'm actually being selfish because I'm trying to gratify something within me. Mother Teresa was the most selfish person on earth because she was giving so that she felt good about giving. So there is nothing inherently selfless. What simply people mean by being selfless and being of service is expand the boundaries of yourself. If my boundaries of myself are just me, I'm going to fend for myself. If my boundaries for myself increase to my family, I'm going to do what's best for my family. If my boundaries for myself increase to my country, I'm going to do the best for my country, and I don't care what happens to any other countries. If my boundaries for myself increase to the whole of humanity, I'm going to do what's best for humanity, because what's best for humanity is what's best for me. Instead of lying to ourselves, which is what we do, is we constantly lie to ourselves because of false ideas that we've picked up. Ask yourself what you truly want. Satisfy that first. Fill up your cup so much that it overflows and fills up the cups of others. Because if you don't take care of yourself, it's like that oxygen mask analogy. You have to put on your oxygen mask first before you put on your child's. And that's the key I want you to take away from this, is people are constantly lying to themselves based on ideas that they've heard. The only way to speak the truth to yourself is when you listen to your heart. When you ask yourself, what do I truly want? What would make my life a continual vacation? If you find that you've been stuck in a pattern for a really long time, all you have to do is ask yourself one simple question. What lies am I telling myself that's keeping me stuck? Or what am I holding on to here that's keeping me stuck? That's it. Just inquire on that question, because the quality of your life is proportionate to the quality of questions that you ask yourself. Become very brutally honest with yourself. One way in which I like to do this is through a method that I actually realized that I was doing for a long time, but I realized this through reading David Goggins' book. And in it, he says that every single morning, he has this morning meeting with himself. You have morning meetings with your team, employees, your employers, but do you have a morning meeting with yourself where you just take inventory of how you feel? How are you feeling today? Are you okay? Do you feel good? Do you not feel okay? Something's wrong, something's up. Get an inventory of how you feel. That's all you need. The current state of being. And this morning meeting can be as simple as spending 10 minutes silently, quietly asking yourself these questions, just in quiet reflection, not getting distracted by something. I like to do this by a 15-minute meditation every single morning. I just sit quietly, observe my breathing, and just watch the breath. The natural breathing that occurs, simply just watch the in-breath and the out-breath. And what I've noticed is, as I've done this more and more, I've been able to connect to the heart more and be more honest with myself. Because you want certain things in your life, but you're holding on to certain ideas that's blocking you from experiencing that. What if you could give up those ideas? What if those ideas didn't guilt you down, make you feel guilty? What if they didn't make you feel ashamed of yourself? I'm sure most of your ideas aren't to harm other people. As long as it's not harming another human being, Why not pursue your wildest dream? Why not give up that false idea you've been holding on to? And when you learn to do this, you'll notice just spending more time with yourself in reflection, your unconscious side will speak. What's the unconscious? It's the heart. The heart you'll start to hear the murmurs of the heart. It's muffled now because you've been listening to the mind for so long. But if you spend more quiet time doing these morning meetings with yourself, walking out in nature, just being quiet, not being distracted by anything that's happening, just listening to yourself and reflecting, you'll notice your true desires will come to the surface. And when your true desires come to the surface, if you have the courage to yield to it, follow it, you'll achieve literally anything that you want in your life. But unfortunately for most people, they don't know what they truly want. They lack true clarity. So what I've gone and done is created a playlist of the 4 different pillars that we use for our paid clients in our reality mastery program, completely free for you to access on YouTube. That's going to take these teachings deeper. The 4 pillars that you need to master are awareness, clarity, creation, and coordination. I share with you exactly what they are. If you can just click right here to access it. And I'll
understand why you have to pay to live on a planet you were born on. And I mean, it's such a simple question, and it's haunted me ever since. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? Ask yourself that question. Why do we have to pay to live on a planet we were born on? And who are we actually paying for the privilege of being alive here?
Good question.
Who made them the boss? Who put them in charge? You know? Think about that. We're looking at a war over water, when instead of feeding the military-industrial complex, we could be building desalination plants all over the world so everybody could have water, so they could grow crops. But are we doing it? No. Why would we want to do that? Why would we want to empower people to grow food and take care of themselves? Then we can't control them. This is what I'm talking about.
You can't show.
New World Order really consists of 3 aspects. There is a New World political system that everyone today is calling the New World Order. As well as that, there is an economic plan for the New World Order, and that is called the New World Economic Order. A third plan for religion. The planners of the world know that men need a religion of some kind, even if it's a false one. So they have a plan to give us a new age world global occultic religion.
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind. Peace and security, freedom, and the rule of law.
We find that psychics such as Nostradamus and Edgar Cayce predicted the occurrence of cataclysmic events. Jesus Christ also prophesied that wars and rumors of wars would increase. Nation would rise up against nation and kingdom against kingdom. Famines, pestilence, and earthquakes would occur with ever-increasing frequency. Are we headed for what the Bible describes as Armageddon? Is the end of the world at hand? Or rather, is mankind on the brink of a new age of spiritual power and enlightenment, a new world order?
If the government is the bank and the money is digital, then the government, number 1, sees all transactions. And number 2, they can turn your money off. So if the government has the ability with a button push to take away fundamental rights, and then on top of that, the surveillance mechanism to know exactly who you are, where you are at all times, and exactly what you're doing, they have total authoritarian power at any time.
Exactly.
To end you, not by putting you in jail, not by taking you through a trial in a courtroom, not by putting them. It's not hard authoritarianism like they have in the Soviet Union. It's soft authoritarianism, which is, oops, there goes your money.
Terrifying.
Yes.
We're about to go down a rabbit hole here, so if you don't like conspiracy theories, turn this video off right now.
Competition with Alobien. Competition with the French bank that own 85% of Apple. How about that? While we fight amongst each other.
Drake has a rich baby daddy named Lucien and Universe. Lucien worked for people who control the banks in Africa.
This video just leaked of Kanye talking about the connection between Lucian Grange of UMG and a French bank that has a massive financial stake in African countries. A lot of people are wondering what the hell he's even referring to, so I'm gonna give you that info and you can do with it what you will. UMG is actually owned by a company called Vivendi. Vivendi is linked to the Rothschilds. The Rothschilds are one of the most powerful and influential families and dynasties that have ever existed on Earth. The French bank that Kanye is referring to is CA Banque. Last year, Vivendi and the Rothschilds collaborated on a merger to purchase Mavin Records for $1.9 billion. Mavin Records is an African music powerhouse. When Kanye talks about the French bank that owns 85% of Africa, that sounds like a long shot, but there are definite connections between CA Banque, the Rothschilds, and Vivendi in terms of the funding of the merger to acquire Mavin Records. So when Kanye says he's not in competition with other rappers, he's in competition with Lucien and the French banks, it actually goes a lot deeper than what you see on the surface. Once again, I want to make it clear that these are just allegations that are made by Kanye, but I wanted to give you guys some context around what he's actually getting at when he goes on these rants.
Above the Illuminati, they are being run by these reptilians. It's more than just
interesting. Yeah. Is there, on the other side of things, if someone's in a great mood, can you feed off that energy too?
Absolutely. It also works in that direction as far as the good ETs, which is what, of course, the religious texts call the angels. And there is a correlation that I do make in my book, Our Cosmic Origin, between the angels and the demons. The angels are actually what we call today the positive ET races, and the reptilians, mainly the draconians, are what we call today the demons in all ancient texts.
Interesting. Now, good and evil is subjective. Like, do you feel like there's a place for these reptilians anywhere?
They're part of a dualistic game of polarity that was initially set into motion long ago in order to create the expansion or growth in our universe. But even that phase is temporary, and it eventually comes to an end in victory of the light. And, and that's the reason why God is always in control, because all polarities within a dualistic framework are over.
The battle is already won, y'all. Let's go. We know this. Be confident in this. The battle is already won. The light is the victor. God, the good, will always prevail the evil. What up, y'all? Dude, since the Pope died, some weird stuff has been happening. You have Europe, France, Spain, Portugal, out of commission. Lights out. No electricity in some very major places of Europe. The weather has been funky. I mean, what else? It's pyramid stuff. Hey, the beginning of the video was how to build a higher self and prepare yourself for what is coming, because you're going to need it. You will need to have control, full control of your consciousness, full control of yourself, of your emotions, of your deepest thoughts, of your shadow self, of that dark side of you that you want to be aware of, in order to know how to handle these next days. But what is up with this next video right here? This is a wild. Keep your eyes on the skies as well, y'all. It's getting beautifully creepy and fascinating.
Interesting.
Anybody know what's going on with the ground lately? Like,
look at this thing glowing. I can't believe I'm holding it this still. My back is not... Wait, I gotta adjust my back. Oh. Oh my god, I would kill for a tripod. Screen record it. Everybody screen record this and share it tomorrow. If you tag me, that would be freaking cool. You don't have to, though. You don't have to tag me. But... oh my god, it's got... it looks like it's got little fuzzy hairs on it. It looks crazy. This is live, guys. This is live.
That is a cherubim, my man.
I just happened to put the lens on perfectly, and I zoomed right in on it.
I bet you it has a eye and many more
now
eyes.
I'm having problems getting it.
Oof.
Trying to keep it still.
I wish you could get closer, dude. I guarantee you'll see an eye in the middle and a bunch of eyes around it.
It looks like it has a little smiley face.
Yeah, my man. God is good, dude.
Oh, I would do anything for a tripod right now. I don't know how much longer I can hold it like this. How do you screen record? Somebody answer her.
Thank you, Jesus.
Oh, it's getting smaller. It's getting smaller. I can still see it with my eyes, though. I'm looking at it. Dude, it's glitching out.
A twirling unknown object caught on slow motion camera. In January of 2024, a user on Reddit posted an intriguing video to the UFO subreddit. They were sitting on their porch in Los Angeles, California, when they kept noticing strange things happening off in their peripheral vision. Trying to figure out just what was going on, they began to film this area in 240 frames per second slow motion. Upon playing the footage back, they were amazed to see this strange oblong object spinning through the air. Theories as to what this might be went wild in the comments section. Some speculate this could be an insect, others say possibly a seed drifting in the wind. Yet others point to something not quite of this world.
How
What
the
are
hell
your
is it an
thoughts?
insect?
When you look on the seal of this, right, that's a UFO right there. Above the church, okay?
Sure
on
is.
this plaque right here. Alright, if you can see it, these right here, these are going to be humans with their heads all connected, getting brought up to the ship. This is the ascension, right? He was brought up onto a ship. All has to do with time and space and your ascension up into the air. Where do you think Jesus went when he went into the sky? All right, there had to have been a chariot or some sort in the air. These symbols on the back right here, okay? They're somatic frequencies. They interact with your DNA and they raise the cellular energy of your cells, okay? This is how you ascend spiritually, through your cellular energy. And the cross, because it's the positive force, okay? It's called the proton motive force inside your cells. Nobody else on here is going to tell you how to ascend, all right? Through the electrical force in your cells. That's why it says the blood of Christ and mentions iron all the time, because iron's going to ground the electrical charge into your body. Copper, just like all these copper roofs on these buildings I keep showing you, copper allows the transfer of energy between cellular functions, okay? This is how your cells communicate and operate at a cellular level. They're literally forces at cellular levels. All this brick right here is stacked like your skin cells. All your skin cells are stacked like brick and mortar. It's why I went studying stonemasonry.
This guy, whistleblower, he was a firefighter on one of the lab bases in Antarctica.
Wow.
Basically, he said that's a very elite position because you have keys to every single facility. And he reported on it. He's like, what does that mean? He's like, I don't even know how to explain it to you. But he talked about this technology that they have in Antarctica. It's this communication device that it like defies physics. So like when we talk on the phone or whatever, when we're communicating, it travels in radio waves, right? Yeah. It's like, so it has that pattern, communicates by a straight line. So it's like you can talk to someone 1 light year away.
If it's through time and telekinesis, then you could go back in time and talk to yourself just telepathically with saying no words. So your gut feelings could actually be your own advice here.
Well, listen, you're onto something a little bit. Oh man. Because he said this technology, he's like, it's not meant for one thing. It's like they're weaponizing it now.
Oh no.
He said the earthquake that happened in Churchill, New Zealand was caused by this thing in Antarctica. And the guy's like, how do you know? He's like, because I was in the room. And it was their first test of this laser beam thing, whatever.
The 13 bloodlines that run the world. Look up. This is not even no theory, y'all. You can look up the 25 banks that own everything. Everything? Yeah, everything. And we feel like we're doing something because, we find out, who Rockefeller is and, we find out who the Rothschilds are. We're like, man, figured it out. No. All of them are just puppets. You think the government and the politicians are puppets? Well, even the Illuminati's puppets. It's something much darker behind all that. It doesn't matter if somebody calls you crazy. It really doesn't. At this point, the shit that's finna happen, the shit they finna do, you think people calling you crazy is the worst that could happen? You got two different types of people. You got the people that are like, that doesn't make sense. Like, explain that to me. You got people like that. Don't turn those people away. And then you got some people that are just like, this is stupid, idiot, this is dumb. Like, don't even smack them people. Like, it's a waste of time. They're angry because they can't even express themselves. They don't have the vocabulary or the knowledge to express themselves. If you let yourself become entangled with those people, then you're just letting the same negative parasitic entity feed off of your energy and siphon off your energy that's using them with trolls, like trolls.
Well, you know that.
Okay, y'all, what y'all are seeing now are some of the most fascinating conspiracies, in my opinion, that's what I've been showing y'all for the past few minutes and for the rest of this video, which is about to end. Doing things a little different today. Let me know if you like it more like this. Less talk, more action. Yes, sir.
Radionuclear research.
Right.
It's nuclear research. But it is more than that, because there are lots of physicians. I know some. They're doing very strange experimentation. There are beings from portals coming in and out. It's physicists from the CERN who told me this.
They've testified to beings coming in and out of portals.
Yes, they have. Apparently, in the bottom of the CERN, this portal, this door, where they are dealing with all the subatomic dimensions. They say there are 17 different dimensions of reality. That's what those physicists say. Some others say there are more dimensions. They had a being, they did not tell me more, who came that doesn't resemble a human. And then they had another one, and they have a proof because they left a scarf. They left a scarf. And now, when you look at what is going on in the CERN, there is a fight from some of the military agencies, Intel. They say that there is a fight on time. They're trying to change time.
On the School Watch tonight, the story of a 7th grader from Salinas who claims to have made a major discovery about President Obama. She and her grandfather say that President Obama is related to all but one U.S. president. We get more tonight from Action News reporter Felix Cortez, who's live in our Salinas newsroom.
Well, Dan, the youngster spent the summer, really all summer, tracing the family tree of our presidents. Her conclusion that all the presidents, with the exception of one, share the same grandfather.
Well, first we start off with George Washington at the top, and then it goes to John Adams, Thomas Jefferson.
11-year-old Bridget Dovigneau says she's made a first-of-its-kind discovery that President Obama and all the presidents before him, with the exception of one, are related and descendants of a former king of England.
No, they are all cousins,
I
and
see.
they're grandsons of John Lackland.
Dovigneau says she spent countless hours on the internet over the summer researching the lineage of our presidents, a project that started with her trying to trace her own family tree.
But I'm the first historian to do all the presidents. I'm very glad I got this done, and I think it will turn out to be a success.
The Monte Vista Christian 7th grader has written President Obama to tell him the presidents before him are his cousins. She hopes to present this family tree chart personally to the president. But Bridget has her skeptics, including this reporter. Her biggest supporter and firm believer that Obama is a descendant of a former king of England is no doubt her mother.
If you have a child, and they 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 have a child,
Like names change.
all she's saying is this guy is the great, 25th, 27th, depending on what line it is. He created all this family. So do I believe it? Yes. It's hard, but it's true.
Well, Mom said it. Hard to believe, but you got to give the little girl an A+ for at least trying to do that and trying to accomplish that feat. And by the way, Bridget has concluded she's the 11th cousin of President Obama. Dan, Aaron.
All right, very good. Thank you, Felix. So who is the one that President Barack Obama is not related to, according to the 7th grader? Martin Van Buren, 8th President of the United States, first U.S. president born in the U.S. Van Buren was a widowed farmer and tavern keeper from New York who helped form the Democratic Party. He served one term as president. His ancestry is Dutch, and according to the Salinas 7th grader, all of the other presidents are of English ancestry.
I think if you look far back enough, we're all related. That's just my opinion. But that was a shout out to that little girl for taking the time and doing that. Yes, sir. I do believe there is a war of bloodlines, though. And there are certain families that run the world, but even they are puppets. It's something much more darker than that. But the battle is already won, my Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Yo, that's it. That's all we got for today. God bless you.